Welcome back to another topsy-turvy day in the world of Malamarkets, where we discuss Pokemon trading card game analytics. Today, we are discussing modern Charizards, which is a hot topic in every Pokemon Facebook group I'm a part of. If I can put an epic voice on here for a sec.
Since the dawn of time, humans have pondered the great mysteries of the universe. What is the meaning of life? If money doesn't grow on trees, why do banks have branches? Why do doctors still need to practice after 8 whole years of school? And of course,
will modern Charizards be valuable over time? Now, before we discuss Charizards, let's discuss collectibles in general and what makes a collectible valuable. And of course, this took a lot of effort to collect and gather and put together all this data. It's fun. I would do this in my own time just for fun without you guys. But if you enjoy the channel and appreciate the information, please subscribe and like this video. The framework that I use to define value in terms of collectability is fourfold, starting with popularity. Obviously, the more popular it is and the more desirable it is, the more valuable it'll be over time. Scarcity, too. Popularity is important, but if it's really, really easy to find, that's going to make it less valuable. The harder it is to find, the more valuable it is, and the harder it is to find in better condition as well. So if it's mint condition, not mint condition, that'll affect the value. And of course, nostalgia. If there's some emotional appeal beyond just the popularity of it, that makes it even more valuable. So it's a combination of all four of these factors, as you can see by the highlighted portion in the center there, working together that makes something truly rare, truly valuable, something that a collector will pay a ton to get in his or her collection. So, where do modern Charizards fit into this collection? Today, we're going to look at these 5. So, we're talking Hidden Fates, Darkness Ablaze, Champion's Path for both of them, and Shining Fates. Now, of course, these came from 2019 to 21. They're probably the most desirable of the ultra-modern Charizard cards. Let's go through each category one by one here, starting with popularity. I don't think we need to discuss popularity. Pokemon is clearly at an all-time high in terms of popularity with how hard it is to get some of these sealed packs and the modern ones too, even though it's getting a little bit easier. And Charizard, of these cards, probably the most nostalgic. Everyone loves Charizard, with the exception of maybe Pikachu. It's probably the most popular Pokemon out there. Now, let's get into the real data. Keep in mind that because these are modern cards, they're still being printed today. So starting with the modern PSA population reports, look at here, we have the Hidden Fates Charizard, Darkness Ablaze, both the Champion's Path, and the Shining Fates Charizard with data as of 7/21. Here are all the populations for specifically PSA 9s and specifically PSA 10s. This will give us an idea of condition as well. We've got thousands of cards here, and there's not much to compare it to yet, but notice how the 10s and the 9s are pretty easy to pull out there. You kind of see a lot. Most of the population is in that mint to gem mint category. 94%, 97%, 96%, 94%, all the way down to Shining Fates at 98%. Now, I know that you're going to say, oh, Shining Fates is super low, but obviously with PSA being closed recently, that's probably why that population is low. And think about this too, because PSA has been closed in particular, it's going to be very difficult for these cards to go up in population right now, but trust me, there's a ton of them sitting there at PSA. There's a ton sitting in people's collections waiting to get sent to PSA. It is going to go up over time. Now, if you compare that with the Wizards of the Coast PSA population, I selected a select few, specifically starting with first edition Charizard. There's only 3,000 graded copies of this card out there, and look how difficult it is to find a PSA 10 or a PSA 9 card. And the same with the Shadowless, which is also, again, in the base set, 4,800 cards, 1% of which are PSA 10, 15% of which are PSA 9. I picked a couple other kind of, more desirable cards too, but starting with Gym Challenge Blaine's Charizard, again, 1,800 cards, 7% PSA 10, 47% PSA 9. It's a little easier. And same with the Neo Destiny Shining Charizard, 46% in that 9+ range. That does not include the first edition for both of those, by the way. And Skyridge, look at that population for Skyridge Charizard, not the reverse, the actual holo. Only 578 cards there. That's crazy. So let's compare these populations and conditions between those 5 select Wizards of the Coast Charizards, again, not the first edition for Blaine's and for Shining, versus the modern ones. Not a single one of these modern ones, with the exception of Shining Fates, is below them. And Shining Fates, again, that's because PSA has been closed. Obviously, money graphic aside, that's clearly why some of these are that much more desirable. They're original, they're old, they're hard to find, they're nostalgic, and the conditions in particular are hard to find. And look at this price comparison. Now, some of you may say some of these cards on the right are more expensive, but I started with the 9s. With the exception of only the Hidden Fates Charizard, that's really the only card right now that can still get over $1,000 in PSA 10, and even that is pushing it. The bottom line is, look at those 10s and look at the percentage compared to the percentage of 10s and 9s on the Wizards of the Coast cards. Keep in mind that those modern cards are still being pulled. So yes, the population is still going up on the Wizards of the Coast Zards, but much more slowly, and the condition that you'll find in these modern Zards is just too good to really retain value over time. That's just really the natural way that it is. So going back to our framework and what makes a collectible valuable: popularity, scarcity, condition, and nostalgia. Now, of course, we've already established every Charizard is going to have that emotional nostalgia factor. Some of the new ones, I'll admit, especially the Shining Fates one, those are dope cards. They're super cool. They're always going to be very popular. It's Charizard, and the cards look amazing. So granted, I will give you that for the modern Charizards. Nostalgia and popularity still will hit strong, but scarcity just isn't there. The PSA populations for all of these cards are already well above the PSA population for the Wizards of the Coast Charizards, and the conditions just are too strong. Again, if you like this video and have found some value from it and at least have a conversation started with your friends, please subscribe. But like I was saying, the condition just isn't there. There are too many 9s and 10s. It's too easy to pull them. To me, that means that these cards are going to hit that nostalgia and popularity category, but is not going to hit the condition, nor is it going to hit the scarcity category, meaning that their value over time as collectibles is limited, despite the fact that these, yes, of course, are very cool cards. But wait, hang on a sec. You're comparing these modern Charizards, which are less than a year old, to 25-year-old sets. Who's to say that these sets won't be worth much more in 2050? Well, I'm to say that. Here are two comparisons as to why I think that and what might be a better way to look at these modern Charizards going forward and how their value will look. Let's start with the 1999 base set Unlimited PSA Population report for the base set Unlimited Charizard. There are 24,000 graded copies of this card out there. Talk about supply. Now, granted, the 10 is still hard to find, but look at a number of 9s and 8s. That's in the 5,000 range in terms of population there. Obviously, this card's older. Not many people took care of it, myself included, so that's why it's harder to find better conditions of this card. But this is also blowing up PSA lately, just like those modern cards have. And look at the quality on those cards, and as you can see, as we'll dive into the numbers here in a second, that high population and the amount of quality you can find in 9s, 8s, and even 7s, that is driving the price down low in this unlimited population. Yes, the 10 still sells high, and yes, the 9 even sells high, but those 8s, 7s, and even below are dropping like crazy. And with those high populations, there's not much reason to think they'll go up again. And the same trend is here with the 2016, much more modern, XY Evolutions Charizard. Almost 1,300 copies of this card. All of these cards also blowing up PSA. Now, print lines and all of that terrible stuff is really holding down the 10 population, which will keep that population more valuable. But the amount of 9s and 8s, it's just, if you are opening XY Evolutions packs and you find this card, which you still can, it's still very easy to find one in at least a 9 or even an 8 condition. And that's why the print quality is really going to keep the price very high for the 10s. They're much more desirable. But when it comes to collecting and actually investing in your collectibles, it's just too easy to find some of these cards. The same with the base Unlimited in good enough condition to pass by and get a solid price on that you can have in your collection. So ultimately, because of that, this is why I think the Unlimited base set and the XY Evolutions 2016 Charizard are much better comparisons for the modern Zards going forward. And we'll get here into 1 second. You'll be able to see the prices for these cards. And again, $3,000 or $1,000 plus versus $100 cards. That's really the difference there. It's not that these Charizards won't be super valuable going forward, but this is likely what is always going to keep them at $100 cards instead of $1,000 cards. So how do we rate these modern Charizards as an investment piece? Again, there's just too many cards out there. They're really cool cards, and they're clearly going to be the most valuable cards in their sets, but just because they're a little valuable doesn't mean they're going to blow up like some of these older Charizards have. I think relative to those Charizards, these cards have seen their peak. These modern Charizards in PSA 10s even will not hit the $1,000 level in the next 25 years. That's why we are super cool and super bearish on these modern Charizards as an investment. Obviously, they're super cool collectibles. They're still very desirable cards, but I don't think because of those populations and how easy it is to find these cards in great condition that they're going to be super valuable moving forward. The one possible exception to that might be the Hidden Fates Charizard. That just dropped below the $1,000 level in a PSA 10 right now. I wouldn't be surprised if that stays around there, but unlike, the Wizards of the Coast Zards, unlike the PSA 10 base set Unlimited and the PSA 10 XY Evolutions, they're just too easy to find these cards in mint condition, and that will keep the value down going forward. Thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it and like all of our other videos as well. If you do, please subscribe to them and make sure you check out the other videos on our channel, and we'll see you on the next one.